It is a holiday. You are making the thing you always make. The pie, the flan, the tres leches. You cut the top off the can. That thick white pours out slow. And you think what everyone thinks. Milk with the water taken out. Sweetened condensed milk is about 54% sugar by weight, more than half the can. One standard 14-ounce can carries roughly 215 grams of sugar, about 5.5 cans of Coke, poured into a pie. And that is the honest can. A few feet down the same shelf, in identical cans, the milk fat has been pulled out and replaced with palm or coconut oil. Federal law will not let those be called milk, so they are called something else, and nobody reads the name. By the end, you will sort that shelf in 4 seconds. 7 traps, 3 cans that are what they say. And the law Congress passed in 1923 to ban one of these cans, and why it is on the shelf this afternoon, I saved for last. 2 things before the list. 1. None of this is poison. Flan at Christmas has never hurt anybody. The problem is how much sugar is in there, and that part of that shelf is not a dairy product, and never says so in plain English. 2. 3 things stand side by side up there, and they are not the same. Evaporated milk is milk with about half the water removed. No sugar. Federal standard, at least 6.5% milk fat. It is also the only one required to carry added vitamin D, 25 international units per fluid ounce. Sweetened condensed milk is the same idea plus a great deal of sugar. At least 8% milk fat, 28% total milk solids. The third thing is neither. Look for the words product, filled, or creamer. Then look for a vegetable oil in the ingredients. That is the whole test. Number 7. The word product. If a food does not meet the standard of identity it claims, it is misbranded. So a can of skim milk and palm oil cannot print sweetened condensed milk on the front. That name is spoken for, so do not use the name. Call it a sweetened condensed creamer, a condensed milk product, filled milk. All legal because none of them is the protected phrase. An imitation? Federal rules force that word on only when the substitute is nutritionally inferior. Swap milk fat for palm oil, and the calories and the protein land close enough that it never appears. Bottom line, the label is not lying to you. It is declining to use the one word that would tell you. Number 6. The arithmetic nobody does on the can. Read a real label. Eagle brand lists 18 grams of added sugar per 2 tablespoon serving, about 10 servings in the can. Roughly 180 grams of added sugar in one can. The American Heart Association says 25 grams a day for women, 36 for men. 1 can is a week. And that sugar is not only flavor, it is the preservative. Condensed milk is not heat sterilized in the can the way evaporated milk is. The sugar is what keeps it from spoiling for 2 years. Bottom line, you are not adding milk that happens to be sweet. You are adding sugar with enough milk in it to hold the sugar together. Number 5. The cans that never held milk fat at all. Walk an Asian or Hispanic grocery in the States, or search the biggest online store in America, and you find cans that look like your grandmother's. One lists whey, non-fat milk, sugar, palm oil. Another, stocked in a Kroger family supermarket, reads sugar, water, vegetable oil, whey powder, skim milk powder, maltodextrin, carrageenan, and a vitamin blend. Read the front of that second list again. Sugar, water, oil. The milk shows up fourth, as a powder mixed back into water. They say creamer on the front, in type smaller than the picture of the pouring can. Stirred into coffee or baked into a pie, most people cannot tell. Bottom line, not condensed milk with a shortcut. Sugar syrup, oil, and milk powder, engineered to behave like condensed milk. Number 4. Carrageenan, and why the internet has this one backwards. Turn a can of carnation evaporated milk around and you find carrageenan, seaweed extract, there to stop the milk separating. Search that word and you will be told it causes cancer. That traces back to research on polygenin, degraded carrageenan, a different substance, not authorized as food in Europe and not used in food here. The expert committee advising the World Health Organization gives food-grade carrageenan its top safety rating. And when the National Organic Standards Board voted 10-3 to pull it out of organic food, the USDA overruled its own board and left it in. Bottom line, the ingredient people are frightened of is the one that checks out. The line worth reading is which fat is in the can. Number 3. The can itself. In 2014, the previous owner of Eagle Brand and PET canned milk told the Environmental Working Group its canned milk contained BPA within the FDA limit. Those brands changed hands a year later. The Can Makers Trade Group says more than 95% of production has moved off BPA. Nobody publishes which cans are in the other 5. Then, a 2023 Health Canada study tracked BPA across the Canadian food supply. Canned fish and soup came down. Canned evaporated milk did not, with a recent sample at 57 nanograms per gram. One study, Canadian data, and the FDA still calls BPA safe at approved uses. Bottom line, the can is the one ingredient the ingredient list never mentions. Number 2. The century when this can was baby food. Gail Borden patented condensed milk in 1856. Within a generation, it was sold to mothers as infant food. The American Academy of Pediatrics published a history of infantile scurvy that names the pattern. Cases climbed through the late 1800s, and physicians tied it to prolonged feeding of heated and condensed milks. The heat destroyed the vitamin C. The sugar kept the babies looking well fed. Then, the evaporated milk era. And this part is fairer. Home formula was evaporated milk, water, and corn syrup, printed by major American medical institutions into the 1960s. Standard practice and safer than the raw milk it replaced. Bottom line, for about 100 years, nobody had to prove this can was complete nutrition. It only had to keep. Number 1. The law that banned one of these cans, and why it is on the shelf anyway. In 1923, Congress passed the Filled Milk Act. It banned blending any fat other than milk fat into milk, condensed or dried, in imitation of milk. Then, Congress called it an adulterated article of food, injurious to the public health, and its sale a fraud upon the public. Those are the words in the statute. A company in Illinois kept making it, condensed skim milk compounded with coconut oil. The case reached the Supreme Court in 1938, and the government won. Every law student in America still reads that decision, though not for the milk. It carries footnote 4, which shaped how American courts review laws to this day. Then, 1972. A federal court in southern Illinois struck the act down as applied to the successor company, not because filled milk had turned out to be fine, applied to the successor because by then, the shelves were full of imitation dairy the act did not touch, so singling out this one can made no sense. Here is the reveal. The Filled Milk Act was never repealed. It is still sitting there, Title 21, Sections 61 through 64. It just stopped being enforced. And the company that won in 1972? Its can is in the dairy aisle right now. Milnot. Evaporated filled milk. Non-fat milk, soybean and or palm oil, carrageenan, vitamin A, vitamin D. Walmart, Kroger, beside the real thing. Bottom line, 1923 probably did call this a health menace on thin science. But the only rule that ever forced the difference onto the front of the can is dead, and nothing replaced it. 7 traps on that shelf, 3 cans that are what they say, safer one, actual evaporated milk. A short list, milk, a stabilizer or 2, vitamin D. No sugar, no oil. Carnation is the standard, and most store brands print the same 3 lines. Safer 2. Sweetened condensed milk with a 2-word ingredient list. Milk, sugar. That is the entire label on Eagle Brand. If the ingredients run past 2 lines, you are holding a formula, not a reduction. Safer 3. Make it. Milk and sugar, low heat, stirred, until it comes down to about half. You never wonder what fat is in it. And the rule for the whole aisle, read the name, not the picture. If the front says product, filled, or creamer, or the ingredients name any vegetable oil, it is not the thing you think you are buying. 2 words on the front, 1 line on the back. Got somebody in your house who grabs whichever can is cheapest and figures it is all the same? Send them this one. New investigation every week. hit subscribe.